Ah, yes. Ah, yes. What that sound means. The best damn sound of the week. In the Paddock F1 Green the Cheese. Little midweek special to finish up. It's a little part 2 to our Mexico show. It's time to take that fantasy ride to that fantasy island of Greentopia. Where the beer flows like wine and the wine flows like beer. And the cannabis, oh yes, it grows as far as the eyes can see. Look at it out there. Look at it. Green and luscious. Take a little whiff. Oh man, let me tell you, I think that gummy's starting to kick in right about now too.
Was it a half a gummy or was it the whole gummy?
Oh, I don't do a half. I go for the full gummy, my friend. There's no jokes. But let me tell you, that air smells fantastic. And we got to take that walk to the top of the hill, that casino at the top. Are we cashing in or are we checking out?
It's a damn interesting board because the entire time I took the trifecta of Sainz, Leclerc, and Norris plus 700. I took Norris to win. That didn't happen, obviously. Norris, Sainz, Leclerc plus 1,600. So that was my trifecta. I thought I was going to hit big. I thought I was going to make up for that 600 greeny buck loss, making 600 greeny bucks back. But what happens at the end of the race? Lando Norris comes through and takes second. Screws me over.
Ruin those bets.
Ruin those bets. You're Captain Conservative. You had Leclerc, Max, Sainz, all winning. Obviously, you're not going to win all of them. You won the Sainz bet plus 165, which kind of washes you out for the other bets. Liam Lawson, top 10. Lawson had... No, he did not get points. 16th is not top 10. The trifecta of Sainz, Leclerc, and Max, or Leclerc, Sainz, and Max. You had the right church, but the wrong pew, sir, with Max coming in third there. But you did not go with two Ferraris on podium. Probably
I think the odds of that was horrible.
Probably wasn't paying at doo-doo odds, as we've seen all year. They're screwing us, man. It used to be so much better when nobody really cared about Formula One, especially in the U.S. And now they put the freaking race in Vegas, and they give you just crap odds. You know, when you're trying to get a bet into the top 10, and just for those who have not tuned into any of the gambling portions before of the show, we usually bet the plus line, right? So you can go look at the money line. We're not betting, negatives on. So if you place a 100 greeny buck bet and you win on plus 165, you win 265, you win your bet back, and then some. Negative, you'd place a 100 greeny buck bet on negative, whatever. 180, and you would win like a couple greeny bucks, 30, 34, 35, something like that. So we really, really, really try to go the plus line. So a lot of times, this is to you, Vegas. I apologize for going the long way here to get to the point. But the point is more on the plus line. Don't give us 12 on the minus line for the top 10. That's it. That's my vent. So I lost once again. I went conservative a little bit. You went conservative as well. So we're pretty much in the same spot. You're up by about 1,600 greeny bucks. I thought I was going to make up some. I was going to get it within 1,000 this week, but screwed the pooch on that with Lando coming in second and splitting the Ferraris. Listen, it's happy time for you. You got the Ferraris coming up. You got Red Bull in third in the Constructors, which is bananas. And Ferrari. Does Ferrari have any shot at taking the Constructors? Mathematically,
absolutely.
Probably.
Mathematically, I think they're, what are they, 29 points behind McLaren? 29 behind McLaren, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You would be the ear-to-ear grin. You'd look like a comic book villain.
I got a little stat there for you.
Ready.
Did you know Charles Leclerc has won as many races from Lando Norris's pole positions as Lando has won from his own poles? How about that?
That's a weird stat. That's a bizarre one. I mean, there's not that many wins. What does Lando have now? 4?
Yeah.
From 0? First of all, with the beginning of this season when you laughed at me, and we're going to do a whole probably super clip at some freaking point. We'll do a year in review as we haven't done before.
Well, wait, I laughed at you because the McLaren was absolute trash.
I guaranteed a Lando Norris, Lando Norris win. Do I get paid on each one? Or is it just yes or no?
It's just yes or no. You don't get paid on each one.
I feel like
you don't get bonus points. You're trying to get bonus points out of a bet. That's not how it works.
Gold sticker.
Get the heck out of here. No, you get no gold sticker, no prize.
Telling you, Lando Norris, this was his year.
No prize.
I told you before the season, this is Lando's year.
Was he going to get a win? That was it. You don't get each successive win. You didn't bet he's going to have 4 wins.
Told you there are multiple guys who get fired. You said nobody. That doesn't happen.
Well, Red Bull changed the rules on that.
Well, I became a little prognosticator. So, which in turn, let's bring it back once again.
And also Williams,
honestly, I'm disappointed in myself that I couldn't get more Greeny Bucks. So I'm coming at you. I'm gonna go for broke. The Mad Hatter is fully out. We'll do it. We'll talk more this weekend. But before we get there, sir, as we always do, it is now time for In the News. In the news. What's going on in the news here on a Wednesday?
Oh, I got a bunch for you. We'll start off with the funny one for the week. Mercedes is hiring a fashion manager for George Russell and Kimi Antonelli. What's your thoughts on that?
Like clothing
fashion clothing, not anything to do with the racetrack itself. Yes, fashion consultant. So when they show up, I guess, to the track, they got, as the kids say, they got the drip on.
First and foremost, we probably could use a fashion consultant over here. So if you are and you want to give us free advice,
you want to send us some cool T-shirts, we'll wear them.
Wear some cool T-shirts that would look great on us, and that could be
cannabis
our fashion.
Cannabis themed,
anything
sci-fi
theme would be great. Star Wars, whole gamut. Sports, obviously Formula One, but anyway. It's ridiculous, but the world wants this shit. Like, Lewis Hamilton walks the red carpet at events, dude. Like, he's out there constantly in the Hollywood vibe, in the New York City fashion scene, in Paris. Like, he's the guy, and they're losing that, and they feel they probably went through the books and realized how much money is coming in through the Lewis Hamilton fashion sense of things and how much is not. But pump the brakes a little bit, because like certain people can be turned fashionable and other people just don't have it. Like you just Lewis has got it. Like he has the it. You can't just buy the it. Like, we don't like you can hire whatever fashion consultant you want. We ain't walking the red carpet at freaking Fashion Week in New York City. No. Like, that's just not happening. It's just not happening. So it fit what you fit. Like, some people could pull it off and others can't. No offense. Lewis pulls it off. Like,
he wears some wackadoodle stuff that I would never be caught dead in, so. to me. So,
you know, to each his own. But he's in a different stratosphere when it comes to that.
Yeah.
He's not a normal human when it comes to that. And that's almost like a side job for him. Fashion is a side job, just like everyone is talented, right? And there's plenty of people in Formula One and in Formula One history that have other talents that they've made money doing that has nothing to do with Formula One. And Lewis Hamilton makes money in the fashion world, and it's nothing to do with Formula One. So I would love to see George Russell in some ridiculous shit, like. I am so excited because he's so goofy. Like, he's tall and he's got the goofy vibe. You know what I'm talking about. Like, some like pink jumpsuit shit with like feather boas or something. Like, rock it, dude. Like, rock it.
you know, I put this one into the news for a joke, thinking I'd get a little something out of you, but you've gone on like a couple-minute rant here about this, and I'm totally shocked.
I didn't expect a fashion statement, but it's interesting. It is so interesting. It's another job. It's another world. That's how I'll leave it. Lewis is really good at it. If someone else is a great chess player, like whatever the hell you do in your spare time that makes you money, that's great, you know? People are scoffing, like, oh, you only make like $200,000 a year doing this, but you made $40 million a year doing this. Like, that's good money, and people do really well post-career.
He's got his own, like, fashion line or something.
Yeah, he absolutely does. He has a whole bunch of shit going on. But yeah, I just want to love to see George Russell in some ridiculous getup.
All right, let's move on. I didn't expect it to go that long on that question.
We can edit some out. It's okay.
I think you just let it ride because you were on a rant. You were loving it.
Right,
you were feeling the groove. Let's go. Lewis Hamilton is to drive Senna's McLaren this weekend at Brazil. How about that?
That's a big freaking deal. That's a big honor. That's obviously a massive honor. To do anything with Senna when you go to Brazil. Yeah, it's a massive honor. Good for Lewis. Lewis deserves everything. I don't think we've honored Lewis enough over the last couple years. I don't think so, because we're going to look back this 20 years later and be like, holy crap, like Lewis Hamilton was one of the greatest drivers of all time, you know, and maybe we're not celebrating him enough when he's on tracks. This is a great celebration of him. He's still a damn good driver to this day, and he really is on the Mount Rushmore, probably. Is he on the Mount Rushmore? The top for those international listeners, which are many. It's like the top 4 of all time in a particular sport or presidency, as it's made to be officially. But yeah, who's the top 4 of all time in this Formula One? And I think Lewis Hamilton has a place in that. And I think we've undervalued him a little bit.
Oh, he's definitely him, Schumi, Senna.
Might have to go with like
or you could go.
You got to go old school. May not even go with a driver. May go with like an Enzo Ferrari or something.
Yeah.
Fangio.
Yeah.
I would consider an Enzo. Listen, if you have your top 4 of all time in Formula One, hit us up in the paddock@gmail.com. In the paddock@gmail.com. Hit us up with your Mount Rushmore, your top 4 all time. If you want big heads, if you don't know what Mount Rushmore is, Google it. All right?
Get out the Google, kids.
Get out the
Google. All right, next story. Helmut Marko has said Mark Webber is intensively seeking talks with Red Bull about Piastri. Thoughts on that?
What's Piastri's contract situation? And how...
I don't know.
It's like Aussie to Aussie. They're going to sit down. roast some shrimp on the Barbie. Is that offensive? Probably is.
I don't know. I think Mark Webber's just,
Does he know
trying to get
Piastri? Do they have any relationship?
Mark Webber?
Yeah.
Mark Webber? Mark Webber's Piastri's agent, you fool.
So then they know each other.
I thought you knew that.
I didn't know he was his agent. I should have known that.
Yes, Mark Webber's Piastri's
I just
agent.
figured there was some general Aussie connection
What do you think? They're always talking to Mark Webber about his Piastri number 2. He's like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's his contract. He's not supposed to be a number 2 driver. It's all that rubbish. So, yeah. Yeah, he's his agent. So his agent is talking to Marco about a seat at the Bull for his driver. That's what's going down. Your thoughts on that now, after that tidbit of information?
Well, I should have known Weber was his agent. Now I know that.
Learn something new every day, sir.
I don't know. Like, why not? He was pissed. He was pissed all year. And I just know that. I know Oscar was pissed at being number 2. And I said it many times in the show. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous that Oscar Piastri was pissed off being number 2 and should just be happy to be there. And Lando Norris is clearly the number 1. Obviously, early on in the season, we talked about, who should switch. Should Piastri have given, Lando, we talked about that, I forget which race, you'll remind me, hopefully.
Hungary.
But obviously
they gave Piastri the win and Lando had passed him.
So with that, there was kind of that kerfuffle then. And I think people thought it was ridiculous afterwards. I think people were on the side of Lando and really said he should pass and get the points. Obviously, we're not in the McLaren front office. We're not in the garage, so we have no idea what the hell's going on.
McLaren kerfuffled that the whole time, so if you want to try and win the driver's title, you shouldn't have done that because that was points you gave away. Plain and simple.
And we spoke about that many times. So with that, but P.S. I thought it was a little ridiculous that Oscar Piastri really, really, really believed that he was a co-number 1 driver with Lando Norris after his short time so far in Formula 1 and after everything Lando's put in. If he wants to be the number 1 and he's butthurt about it, go somewhere else then. Go somewhere else and be the number 1. Because obviously that's what he wants. According to his agent, Mark Webber, who, shame on me. Shame. Shame.
Shame.
Disrobe and have you walk across the Brooklyn Bridge in my underpants and have you ring the bell after me.
I don't think anybody wants to see that.
Nobody wants to see that. It's getting cold in New York. Well, it's going to be 85 here tomorrow. Fahrenheit. Celsius, we'd all be dead.
Yeah, it'd be pretty damn hot.
That'd be pretty damn hot. All right, what else you got?
It has come out that in the drivers' meeting, when they were discussing overtaking, 19 of 20 drivers said that changes should be made. I'm sure you can probably guess who the one guy was. It wasn't announced, but I think we can narrow it down.
Wasn't announced. Okay.
Was not said, but I think you could probably infer on who that probably was. So should changes be made for this upcoming weekend, going into Brazil? Or were the changes already announced by what the stewards did last week in Mexico?
I mean, I think the guidelines were reinforced, at least. I think people woke up.
I mean, that's what the guidelines say.
20-second penalty. With max, it's 20 seconds of penalties. The smelling salts are going to wake you up on that one a little bit. So, I think everyone is a little on edge. Obviously, everyone saw at this point the madness that went on, and nobody wants to get hurt. It's been a long time since we've had a major injury in Formula One, and we really want to keep it that way. And the best way to do that is safer driving. I think we've had entertaining driving without blowing up cars and killing people. So, especially heading into Brazil. So, Should changes be made? I don't think so. I think just reinforce what you have and make sure drivers are driving safe. You never want to be super reactionary because you might change the sport if you're overreactionary at any time. You don't want to change the fundamental spirit of the sport by overreacting in a certain way. So reinforce the rules you have. They've been a little bit lax. I think over the last few seasons, they've been more and more lax. There's been some things that went on that we all said should be penalties. We all said, and it's a warning, and then it's another warning. All right, we'll give you a third warning. It happens a lot. There have not been those 5-10-second penalties that I think 3 seasons ago we saw pretty consistently. And it keeps people in line. Slap on the wrist. You want it to hurt. If any of you got slapped
put some sand in that slap. Stings a little bit more.
If you got slapped on the beach, it's embarrassing. So, and it's embarrassing to get a penalty. You saw Max have to sit there for 20 seconds. It's embarrassing. The dunce cap, as we called it. All right, what else we got?
All right, final one I got for you. Christian Horner cannot guarantee Perez to finish the 2024 season in the Bull. Will this be Perez's last weekend? Because we do have a couple-week break before we get to Las Vegas.
Wow. You know, I
got a little tidbit to add into that to you to make you think a little bit extra. Telmex, which is a sponsor for Red Bull, will not be the sponsor next year. That is a sponsor from Carlos Slim, a Mexican billionaire. So that was a lot of money coming in because of Perez to Red Bull. That is not next year, as AT&T will take over that spot.
Yeah, well, since Carlos Slim, is like I think like the 5th richest man in the world, or I think more than that.
Yeah.
Even. Like he's up there with like he's just below like the Musks of the world. So when someone like that's like I'm pulling out, really goes to show Sergio Perez's days have been numbered. I think since like.
I don't know. Last season?
I'm just trying to think last season. The last race he won, did he win Miami? Like 23? What's the last race he won? It was around that time. It was around like May, June of 23 was the last race he won. And he didn't just crash out. He crashed out hard. What's the last podium? Well, I mean, no, that's a lie. He won this. No, he didn't win this season. He hasn't won this season, right? Or has he? No. He has not won this season. No. He's not won. He's one of the only one of the 8 that haven't won. So yeah, probably last May or June.
He stinks.
He stinks. You got to get him out of here. We've been saying that at least this season. I think we said it at the beginning of the season. And I think we also mentioned if Max is probably going to win the Drivers' Championship, and Sergio's probably going to finish with at best 7th, most likely 8th at this point. Right? I don't have the numbers in front of me. He's not going to finish 9th, so he's going to finish 8th at worst.
When was the last time? When was the last time a driver won the championship that wasn't in the car that was like top 2 in the constructors?
You got to have a driver that's going to win a championship, right? His team is 30 constructors. And you're going to have a driver win a championship and the same car finishes 8th and raced every race. He did not miss a race this season.
No.
That's probably one of the most staggering, to me, one of the most staggering statistics I've heard in a long time. So yeah, he stinks. Get him out of here. Get him out of here! Stink.
I mean, I'm trying to think here. When was the last time a driver won the constructors? I mean, that wasn't in the constructors champion.
I have no idea.
Top 2. Like the team wasn't even the top top 2-3 teams. Was that like Nelson PK?
Back in the day,
Like 83?
I'd have to go through. Maybe if we went through the history of Formula One championships, by Kevin Eason, who was amazingly on the show a few weeks back. You can check that episode out. And all of our episodes, as Cheese is deep in the tank over here, he's going to be up all night going through the new Formula One Bible here, trying to figure out when the heck the last time a driver won a championship and his constructor didn't finish top 2. You're going to have to delve into that. I'm sure it's out there somewhere. Cheese, anything else you got to say, brother?
We'll see you in Brazil in a few days.
A few days' time. We'll see you in Brazil. Again, in the paddock USA at gmail.com. Hit us up. Hit us up on YouTube. Greenie and the Cheese. Like us. Subscribe to us. Every subscriber counts. Say what you got to say. Say what you got to say, brother.
Oh, as always, stay medicated, my friends.
Peace.